Listen, before I even get started with this video, let me go ahead and say this video is not to divide or make fragments or to make you feel like that you're less than because you're a red shirt or walk on. This video is not for that. This video is not to get your dander up and say that I'm calling you a scrub. That's not it. It wouldn't make sense for me to say that anyway because I myself walked on to a junior college in Utah. Okay, that's how I got my shot. And the reason I got that shot is because the person went to my high school, that went to that same junior college and did well, and went on to go to the University of Wyoming, and they gave me a shot. I walked on, I redshirted, had to pay my way my first year, but I was able to expand upon that opportunity and get a scholarship every year after that. Okay, but there are certain things that you need to be aware of as far as that process is concerned. There's certain potholes that red shirts and walk-ons fall in all the time that I don't want you to fall in. So I'm gonna give you these 5 ones. It's gonna be quick. I'm gonna get you in and out. I'm not gonna dwell on this. I'm just gonna get you in and out. And the first one is understanding that you don't need to play with a chip on your shoulder. I know people celebrate that kind of stuff, play with a chip on your shoulder and with this whole me against the world mentality. But what I'm telling you is this. Whether you're trying out for a team in college, whether you're walking on, whether you're a red shirt, playing with a chip on your shoulder oftentimes is like a middle finger to the coaching staff. At least that's how a lot of coaches take it, right? They feel like they've worked so hard to make sure they have team chemistry. They've recruited their behinds off, and they've done what they had to do to get the team where they're at right now. And for you to go in there and try to disrupt that, to try to make it all about you and feel like someone owes you something, that juice ain't worth the squeeze, baby. We can get you out of here and find somebody else, okay? What you need to be doing is focusing on how can I add to the team? How can I make sure that I add to the chemistry that's already on the team? How can I make sure that I can strengthen some of the relationships that they already have? How can I make sure that I can fit in? How can I make sure I do that? This whole idea of I'm going to puff my chest up and say someone owes me something, that's a quick way for you to be not allowed on a team. I've seen someone comes to mind, this person might watch this video, that was plenty good enough to be on the particular college team he wanted to be on. He was good enough. Talent-wise, skill-wise, not only was he good enough, he was better than a lot of the people that he was going after, that he was going up against in practice. His mistake that he made, however, was he carried himself like he was larger than life. He carried himself like someone owed him. He played like he had a chip on his shoulder. And that's just not the mentality that you want. You want to seem like you're trying to build and be a part of and not divide and be set apart from. Number 2, I want to go ahead and let you know that something is not fair but it's probably going to happen is you're going to be the whipping boy. What do I mean by that? Back in the medieval times, they had princes and kings and queens and princesses and all that stuff. And, you know, if a prince got in trouble, the prince didn't get a whooping or anything. He saved that for his whipping boy. There was a whipping boy that actually had to take the punishment that the prince actually, got in trouble for. And what I'm telling you is this: the same thing happens in college sports, okay? And I know that because I went through it myself, okay? Whereas the starters, they're running a play wrong, coming in practice out of shape and all that crap. And instead of the coach getting on this person, okay, this coach would get on me. And I would run, not only for my mistakes, but for their mistakes. And say, well, Bell, why would they do something like that? Because for whatever reason, some of them jokers as soft as wet toilet paper, and they know that if they were to get on to those players, they'd crumble up, and then that would limit their production when they actually got in the basketball game. That's why they really do it. But they'll say some stuff like, oh, it's for the team and all this other stuff, or maybe not even acknowledge it that it's even happening. But I'm telling you, it happens all the time. So instead of you getting upset about it and saying, why me and all this, I challenge you to take it and say, okay, just learn from it. That's it. Don't be upset about it. Don't let it make you clam up or anything like that. Just say, it's just part of being a redshirt. It's part of being a walk-on, right? That's all you can do. Do your very best and just leave it at that. But number 3, since you are going to be a walk-on or if you're going to be a redshirt, I need you to know that they're not going to hold your hand quite like they do the starters. Okay, because they've invested more in the starters than you. They put money, they put resources, they recruited their behind off. Like they put a lot into these doggone starters. So they need to make sure they get a return on their investment. I'll put it to you like this: if Carl, right, starter or whatever sport you play, he's a starter, and he doesn't go to class, best believe coach is going to make sure that he goes to class. Whether that be they show up at the class and make sure they're doing some type of class checks, or whether that be doing, physically going to wake them up. Whatever that looks like, they're willing to do that. But for you, red shirt, walk on, paying your own way, I'm not doing that. Again, the juice is not worth the squeeze. The labor that I got to put in to get the production out of you is not worth it because I'm not even paying you to be here. Okay? Listen, if you give me something as far as productivity on the field, on the court, on the diamond, on the course or whatever, then that's great. But the minute that you are doing something outside of that, that is a problem. That is a problem. So again, some people may been out of shape and say, well, they don't care for me. No. It's not that they don't care. It's just they have a limited amount of resources. So what you need to do is have a productive mentality moving forward and say, okay, what can I do? How can I make this work for me? That they're not checking to make sure my classes are taken care of. They're not checking to make sure these meal plans and this stuff is taken care of. What can I do to help what can I do to make this work for me? And what I would say is, well, now you're more in control of your numbers. You hear me say that on the channel all the time. Like there's so many people that are student athletes that they've been coddled and taken care of for so long, they don't even know how to pick out a meal plan. They don't know how to set their own schedules. They don't know what financial aid is. They haven't done the due diligence as far as getting that stuff taken care of because they've always had a coach or guidance counselor, someone that hold their hand. But you don't have that right now. You got to get it how you live. So you got to make sure that you make sense of what's going on, and it's only going to help you moving forward. Because when you do get that scholarship, when you do get some more financial aid, when you do get a Pell Grant, when you do get these doggone different aids or financial incentives, when you do get that, you'll be better prepared on how to assess what's real, what's fake, what's going on. You'll be able to do that more readily than somebody who had the red carpet thrown before their face, thrown before them before they got in college, and they just had somebody walking them through it. So that's a plus. You'll be able to really understand what's going on as far as loans, all that stuff. You're in a great position. You just don't know it. You're in a great position. My fourth one is you have to understand that in this process, you want to make sure that you are an addition, not a distraction. I kind of hit on this a little earlier, but when you're in these red shirt and walking on situations, you want to make sure that you are adding on to what they have going on. That's what you want to do. You want to add on to what they're going on. You don't want to be in a situation where you're being distracted. Or you're looked at as a distraction. What do I mean by distraction? I mean, you're getting horrible grades, right? You're flirting with not being eligible. A situation where you're the person that's being pulled out of doggone parties and clubs and kickbacks and all that stuff. You're drunk, you're high, you're not going to classes, right? You're being unreasonable in practice, and there's a situation where you're always getting in yelling matches with people. That kind of stuff, that's a distraction. That is a situation where people have to exert more energy to have a livable situation as far as the players are concerned, and you're just not worth that. No knock against you, but that's not why you were there. Okay. You want to be an addition. There's already chemistry associated with that team. You need to figure out a way that you can add on to that chemistry, that you can blend with that chemistry, that you can be a part of, and you can enhance that chemistry. So what does that mean? That means making sure that when you're on the court, when you're on the field, when you're on the diamond, when you're on the course, or whatever sport that you're playing, that you are celebrating and you're helping out your teammates. Right? So from a teammate standpoint, that's the situation. But beyond that, as it relates to relationship with your coaches, you want to make sure you have a clear highway of communication with your coaches. That if you have an issue, you can talk to them after practice, yada, yada, yada. You don't want to be anything on either side that you are being a distraction from what you came here to do. And then lastly, I have to say this. You need to understand and realize that this is a tryout. It's a year-long tryout. You know, sometimes you can get the jersey on, sometimes you can get on the roster or be in the media guide, and you get on the website and you start feeling yourself. You start feeling like, oh man, okay, I must have made it. You haven't made it. You have not made it. I'm telling you right now, you have not made it. And that kind of stuff can lull you to sleep and you start making errors. This is a tryout from the start to the finish. This is a tryout. You're being watched the entire time, both on the court, on the field, on the course, on the diamond, on the track, whatever sport you play, you're being watched in competition and in the classroom and in social life. All right, you're going to be you're like a fish in the fishbowl. All right, you're going to be for the eyes, for everyone to see. So for you to be lulled to sleep and think for a second that you are a normal student athlete because you work hard in the gym and in the weight room and you're just like everybody, you're not. You're not. And again, this video is not to do any type of splintering of teams. I'm not trying to tear teams apart and say you're less than or you're better than. I'm not doing that because guess what? I started off redshirting. I started off walking on, right? I went through that process myself. So everybody's important. Everybody needs to play their role. But the worst thing you can do is to think that your situation is just like everybody else. It's not, right? It's not. It takes a little bit of finesse, and it takes a little bit of nuance. It takes a little bit of, you got to know what you're doing. Because if you don't know what you're doing, there'll be a quick way that you'll just have the experience to say you had a jersey for a minute, and then you'll be in and out of there. And I don't want that to happen because it's an amazing opportunity to be able to play whatever sport you love and be able to represent the university. And I want you to be able to do that for a long time while your eligibility still lasts.